Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Activity at Kenya Vehicle Manufacturers in Thika as local assembly of electric vehicles begins to take root.
The biggest plus in local manufacturing is basically jobs.
And there are more chances of you getting a ride in an electric bus, a personal electric vehicle, or riding an electric bike like me.
We are having a new model of our bike, that's for the EBX.
Currently, we are supporting private stakeholders with the charging points.
We provide transport to people with disabilities using hybrid electric vehicles.
The training we do, especially on electric mobility, is because you can't just take a driver from a diesel bus to an electric bus.
It is possible to have an electric vehicle that you can drive across East Africa.
Quite smooth. Welcome to the show. We are discussing the status of e-mobility in Kenya, challenges and solutions, advantages and disadvantages as we peep into the future. You may have seen this convoy making rounds in Nairobi City at some point. A file of buses, but not your ordinary buses. A file of bikes, but not your ordinary bikes. Yes, these are electric vehicles, and this roadshow that was planned by E-Mobility Association of Kenya was the culmination of the E-Mobility Week that was observed during the third week of September 2024 to raise awareness on the status of electric vehicles in Kenya. And as stakeholders stamped their authority in the transport sector with that mighty show, the Basigo line at the Kenya Vehicle Manufacturers in Thika was abuzz with activity. This is one of the latest developments in Kenya's e-mobility sector since my last interaction with Basigo in 2023, when it had only 15 buses on the road in Kenya. Basigo is one of the top suppliers of electric buses in Africa.
The bus behind me is very proudly built in Kenya at Kenya Vehicle Manufacturing plant in Thika. So we are now building buses in Kenya. At that time, all the buses that we had were imported. And we've grown. We have built more charging stations, more buses on the road. As we speak today, there is 30 buses on the road. There's another 6 waiting to be deployed. And we are building 2 buses a week. So a lot has changed.
Yes, 2 buses a week with so many hands on the deck. And by the time we were completing this filming, Basigo had 36 buses on the road in Kenya.
Once a bus is finished at KVM, it goes through inspection at NTSA, registration, getting all the licensing, and that takes around 1 or 2 weeks. Right now, the order book is so large that we are trying to catch up. We are so far behind the order book. We have around 500 orders. We are only going to manage to do 10% this year.
The assembly of EVs in Kenya means a lot, not only to the environment, but also to livelihoods.
The biggest plus in local manufacturing is basically jobs. So you are then providing good jobs and clean jobs and steady jobs, and these are well-paying jobs. So, for example, at the plant at KVM, on the line that Basigo is building its buses, there are 50 full-time employees who are on that line, only working on buses. And beyond that, of course, every bus that we deploy employs another 6 people. So it means jobs. However, it is a slow process because it's baby steps. We're just beginning that process of assembly, and by the time we get to a point whereby we are assembling to be able to meet the demand, it will take quite some time.
In an earlier interview, the managing director of Basigo Kenya said the company is supporting the public service vehicle sector by offering flexible payment terms.
How we do that is by providing innovative financing, which we call Pay As You Drive, which is a kilometer-based financing. That way we are able to bridge the high cost of an electric bus, and then they're able to afford and actually have a better rate of return through their operations.
A bus like this one goes for about 18 million Kenya shillings if you buy it outright. but a buyer can get one on lease basis by paying 1 million Kenya shillings as deposit and monthly installments based on kilometers. Basigo has operations in Rwanda too, with 6 buses on the road. Rwanda has tax incentives that make it cheaper to acquire EVs at almost 40% lower than Kenya. A team from Kabisa Electric from Rwanda was also on the e-Mobility Week Roadshow in Nairobi.
We drove our pickup from Kigali all the way here to Nairobi for several reasons. One, wanted to show that it is possible to have an electric vehicle that you can drive across East Africa. But we're also here to just be a part of the Africa e-Mobility Week and to showcase some of the things that we're doing out there in Rwanda and have a feel of what Kenya is like.
Kabisa has supplied over 150 electric vehicles in Rwanda.
So we have across the platform, we have pickups, we have commercial vans and light-duty trucks, and also compact SUVs for families and personal use. It's at least 75% cheaper to run it on electricity than it is to run it on diesel. And then because there are less moving parts, the actual maintenance of the car is also around 60 to 65% cheaper to maintain the vehicle. So in terms of lifespan and use and operational use, it's actually way cheaper to have an electric car. The big question now is, what will happen to my car after 10 to 12 years in terms of the battery life, and can we extend battery life? Can we replace the battery over time? And so that's some of the questions that need to be answered over time, but we'll have to wait and see. I think the biggest tool that I would say is that there's no duty or customs on electric vehicle imports in Rwanda. So it's actually sometimes cheaper to buy a brand new electric vehicle for the same sort of specs than it is to buy an ICE vehicle.
Let's now turn our attention to two-wheelers. EB, a Pan-African e-mobility company, is also engaged in local assembly. The company was founded in late 2021 in Kenya and is now operational with electric bicycles in Kenya, Uganda and Rwanda. It sells and rents e-bicycles and also operates a fleet of last-mile delivery riders, creating green jobs for women and youth.
Currently, we are having a new model of our bike, that's for the EBX. So initially we had the EBX 1.1, but currently we are having EBX 2.2. So this bike comes with a lot of improvements. That's on the battery. It has it's IoT-enabled battery, so it's easier to trace the battery in case of an issue. So security features are more improved, and also from the shocks. Basically, most features of the bike are more improved to give better performance to our clients, that is. Okay. The advantages of our e-bicycle, that is EBX, for example, it has what we call an pedal assist. So that means as you cycle, you don't use a lot of energy. So on both terrains, you are doing flat terrain, on uphills, you use this sort type of energy, yes. So there's no fluctuations of like you are using more energy on uphill, no.
EB Africa has an assembly plant in Tilisi, Kiambu County, where bikes are fully assembled. Before, the company used to import semi-assembled bikes.
We have almost 400 bikes on under fleet. Then for this year, I can say the third quarter of the year, we have around 500 bikes on the road. That's on cash upfront. Most of the bikes you see around maybe doing Glovo, Uber Eats deliveries, those are under fleet. Most people who normally buy, it's more just for leisure, maybe get transport to work, and that is. Then also have a leasing program to companies. Instead of owning the bike fully, we can lease it to you for a minimum period of 3 months. You use it to your own satisfaction, then it's a subscription-based type of purchase.
And there are more stakeholders electrifying their way into Kenya's transport sector. There is e-Bikes Africa that is located along Gong Road on Muchai Drive, opposite Coptic Hospital.
Our bike is unique in that it comes with a throttle, whereby, let's say, if you don't want to pedal or when you are tired of pedaling and you just want to go around the city, it comes with the throttle and also has the pedal assist. Pedal assist mode whereby you cycle, then the motor assists you. Comes with the security features such as key for opening the complete bike. Then you have to long press the mode button. Now it's on. Has about 5 gear modes, one being the lowest with about 15 kilometers an hour, and the highest going to about 47 to 50 kilometers an hour. This is the battery. Actually, the battery is removable, The battery actually you can charge it at home.
Okay.
You don't need to go around swapping it. Actually the battery itself, charging it for one full charge, one full charge will cost you around 15 shillings for one full charge. And with that full charge, you can go around for 80 kilometers.
Persons living with disability are not left out. There is S Mobility that provides transport to people with disabilities and people with reduced mobility using hybrid electric vehicles.
For example, the vehicle that is behind me, it's a hybrid electric vehicle, but then it has a ramp, an electric ramp that helps someone on a wheelchair to be transported when they are still seated on their wheelchair, instead of having to lift them up and place them into the vehicle. So the advantage with this particular vehicle and the solutions that we offer is we provide transport to people with disabilities and reduced mobilities so that they can travel with dignity and independence. For us, it's a last mile solution, so we don't just pick you from home and drop you at a gate. We make sure you're in the exact location you want to go to, whether it's on a 5th floor, our driver then helps you up to that particular floor, and that's where now the driver then leaves you and will then come back for you later.
How about those driving personal EVs?
My name is Leonard Omolo. I'm a teacher by profession. I really love electric cars.
Why?
I've been driving it for over 1 year, and when I compare it to the gasoline cars, I've saved a lot. I work almost 50 kilometers away from my home to my place of work. Past Kitengela, I was spending almost between 2,000 to 2,500 on fuel. And with an electric car, I'm spending between 300 shillings if I charge, and it's enough to take me to and fro to work.
E-mobility comes with training needs. Advanced Mobility Center is one of the active training firms in Kenya.
We are a training and consulting firm in electric mobility, advanced driving and fleet management. We are the training partner for people like Basigo, Rome, where we train their drivers how to transition from diesel to electric buses. We've done a number of trainings in the country. Right now, the very technical training, we've done 3 rounds of it, most recently at the Kenya Power Training School. And so far, we've trained over 170 people in technical training, where we bring a master EV technician from outside the country, and we're able to disassemble and reassemble the main components of an electric vehicle. We also support fleet operators in driver training, for example, defensive driving, eco driving, 4x4 driving, and most recently, EV driving. And most importantly, we help them to structure their business. So our third pillar is fleet management training and consulting, and we are actually the training partner for the Strathmore Business School when they run their fleet management course.
Then there is the charging infrastructure.
Drive Electric is an e-mobility company focusing on e-mobility consultancy. We also deal with electric vehicle leasing and also charging infrastructure, both the residential, commercial, and home charging solutions. By home charging solution, we mean whereby you can be able to charge at home, and we also have the commercial charging solutions that is available publicly, like the one you can see behind us. This is a 50 kilowatt DC charger for public usage. At the moment, we have around 17 charging points spread across the country, focusing majorly on DC fast charging solutions. Think it as a term of whereby an Uber driver will need to make as many trips as he can be able to make.
Kenya Power has a very core and critical role in this space. All the vehicles, most of the vehicles which are using electric must use electricity. So they are getting, most of them are getting this electricity from Kenya Power as a retailer. And we are looking at performing this role so that we do not impede the transition by ensuring that there is reliable and accessible quality power available to every player and every vehicle, every motor two-wheeler which comes into the space. We are supporting private stakeholders with the charging points who are coming or setting up the charging points. Right now we have multiple charging points in Nairobi and a few other towns in the country, Kisumu, Nakuru, Naivasha, Nanyuki, Mombasa. Kenya Power is also looking at setting up a backbone network, which we have started is setting up the first station, 50 kilowatt DC changer at Stima Plaza, our head office, which is currently accessible to the public for free. And we also have 2 other stations. We are setting one in Nairobi, Donholm, and another one at South Sea. We have also partnered with Eldoret, the city of Eldoret, the newest city, to put up a fast changer at the city.
In terms of benefits of e-mobility, so much has been said about electric vehicles being environment friendly as they have zero carbon emissions into the atmosphere, hence helping to mitigate effects of climate change.
In an economy like ours, government is always a big player, and of course the private sector being the matatu operators. We have done a lot of advocacy to the matatu operators, to the transport operators, and we can see a huge appetite for adoption. So we actually have more reservations where we've got more customers waiting for buses than we can actually produce. But why do we need government? Government needs to then create an enabling environment. This is an industry that is new across the world, but in infancy. Like any infant, like any baby, like any child, you have to give it a bit of breathing space, a bit of space to actually crawl, stagger, and finally walk. So that's where we require a good enabling environment so that this industry can then pick up.
So informative, so entertaining, and that's the spirit of the Chamwada Report. And on behalf of my team at Chams Media, many thanks for believing in this cause and for being part of the growing Chams community, Chams family. And let's continue subscribing. Keep subscribing. Tell a friend to subscribe. Until we meet again next week, same time, this is your home of inspirational content.